All right, little snippet here, talking about how some people are just too fucked up to train with, and it's possible that you could unfuck somebody with discipline. This is a video of I'll put a link to it, but it's circulating through a lot of other channels. So basically, this guy's on a shooting range. He decides to do some slob shooting, live fire, where he walks up and starts shooting toward this guy's feet or like really close to him. It also shows where you want to be able to use non-live fire training to sort out the shitheads and to sort out ammo wasting and all that kind of stuff. We also need to recognize that just because somebody's in possession of the guns and knows the mechanical ins and outs of them, that's not going to be the best indicator of character on a lot of those situations. These guys are all jolly, having fun, and probably nice people, but as far as discipline training goes, ain't got fucking got it. Okay, this guy's a slob who obviously isn't ready for the range at all. We don't know what his background is. Everybody says, "Oh, he's a Call of Duty player, this or that." You know what? I hate to say it. I've seen people on military ranges who have similar maturity. I hate to say it, but I've seen it. They're going to get removed from a formal live fire range, but sometimes you get them on the live fire range with a lot of discipline, and they're gonna do what they're supposed to do because somebody's watching over them. You get them out in the woods, and all of a sudden it's out to stupid. So I'm not going to say that having some military experience is going to be the clearest indicator somebody's not going to do shit like that. Now I've seen stuff where one person's behind the other, and you kind of get a little used to somebody being beside you or behind you or above you. It's another thing to be shooting at their close to their feet and that sort of thing. That's not cool. It's not a formal part of the training. That's not how you roll. Okay. And I would venture to guess that none of these people have experienced training. They don't have the benefit of real experienced training supervision from, somebody's kind of been there, done that at the higher level. It wouldn't surprise me at all if one or two of them are military veterans. It wouldn't surprise me at all. They're probably going to be identified before long because this is a pretty recent video. One of the things that you're going to run into, though, is when you're integrating training, let's say with other groups, other survival stuff, all that kind of a thing, is you never quite know what you're dealing with until you're kind of shoulder to shoulder with people in a scenario. And that's where dry fire, lecture type stuff, that's kind of where you sort that out. And there was a discussion in the Get Off the X forum about what's the difference in a lot of shooting courses between courses where people gear it toward professional users versus the tactical tourists. What's the real difference? Because a lot of times the course givers will do the same range time, the same shooting time on the professional versus non-professional users. The issue is that the professional course is going to have a lot more classroom instruction beforehand, a lot more AAR after time, because what you're going to be running into is, there is more critique. There are higher standards on things other than, simple weapon manipulation and shooting skill, because those people on a day in, day out basis have to take those things more seriously in an intact legal system environment. Now, these guys, my guess is, in the not-so-distant future, are going to be educated on the realities of an intact legal system environment while there's cameras around. Okay? They're probably going to get a pretty harsh education on that in the not-so-distant future. So I'm going to post a link to this video. The link is coming from somebody's channel who is not one of the people in the video and not a person holding the camera. He's somebody who the video was forwarded to him, and he's posted it from that standpoint. I'll discuss this a little bit in my comments, but the other thing you really want to pay attention to when you go to that link and take a look at this is, what the majority of comments are and how a lot of this online knowledge training that you can get just simply by surfing YouTube, you can get good info. You're going to get solid info from a lot of people who don't necessarily need to tell what their, they don't need to give credentials to make a lot of these comments, but you know what? The majority are going to kind of have an idea. And so that's, that's what's going to happen. Don't do stupid shit, okay? That's one of the things we got to tell people. Don't do stupid shit. And we never really know who's going to do stupid shit till you get to the range. And that's why, people shouldn't be offended by the fact that if you want to get more into higher speed professional grade training, as opposed to, the treat you like children NRA style courses. And I'll say this, military basic training is training for non-gun people, okay? That is training for non-shooter people because the drill instructors, the drill sergeants, the marksmanship, they don't know what they're dealing with, and they do have to play it on the lowest common denominator, because even if somebody has experience with weapon manipulation, like these guys obviously do, you never really know what you're dealing with. It's also the reason for professional grade retraining, regardless of somebody's background, and that's one of the reasons a lot of that gets reinforced when you do go to professional grade training. You don't stop doing lectures and reinforcement of values, laws, safety issues when you go to retraining. At least with anybody I would choose to have anything to do with. And these guys, obviously they probably aren't afraid to be on camera because they're legally allowed to have guns. These are not outlaws. These are probably not people in a banned state where they feel they have something to hide. And they're people who probably would escape from criminal charges if they're all buddies and a guy would say, oh no, that's cool, I know it was just a joke. To the rest of us, we can't afford to be around that. Okay, you can't afford that sort of a thing. If you are attempting to prepare for any sort of restrictive environment, key events, anything like that, you definitely can't have that mentality around at all. You can't have any hints of it. One of the ways you can sort that stuff out is with preparatory sorting out, training, figuring things out before you get there. And everybody understanding it's not just the mood of the training itself, but once somebody leaves your training, your environment, and they become an alumni of whatever your situation is, a lot of that behavior, your reputation as an instructor or as a group member, as somebody who's associated with a particular group, that goes with it too. Okay, if I seriously doubt. I can kind of tell by the way somebody cocks an AK, what level of training or who they got it from, that sort of a thing. Oh, this guy's probably not a graduate of any named shooting school. What I would say though is, if he had been associated with any shooting school, any volunteer group that does training, anything like that, they're all potentially embarrassed by what happened here. I'm guessing that's also kind of a semi-formal range. I don't think that's like, an actual gun club. But it shows the dangers of being around fuck-ups or potential fuck-ups on these situations. I suggest kind of clicking the link in this video and going there and seeing what all of the comments are, just so you know you don't pull shit like that. Definitely.